Greetings, everyone. I am Dr. Wolf, and recently I was listening to this story about a man who fell from a ski lift and turned out to be just fine when everybody watching thought he was dead for sure. And that reminded me of the time when I drove a snowmobile off a cliff and survived, and the one guy who saw me fall thought for sure I was dead. Oh, goodness. But this was way back when I was around 15 years old, and we had someone in our church ward who owned a little snowmobile rental company up in the mountains. And during the winter, he'd like to take some groups of the young men in the ward and let them go snowmobiling for an activity. And yeah, that was really nice of him. And yeah, he trusted us, even at age 15, to drive the snowmobiles on our own. I don't know if I would feel the same way, but he was just that kind of guy. We had been snowmobiling for quite a while, and it had gotten dark, although the snowmobiles had pretty powerful headlights. And me and this one other guy, I think his name was Josh, he and I were going around this winding trail in order to get back to the lodge, in order to spend the night. And to the left, there was hill going straight up. And to the right, there was this almost straight shot down. I mean, seriously, it was about that steep if you were falling off. But I wasn't too worried about it. I mean, the trails were fairly wide in order to get the snowmobile around the trail back and forth, and I figured we could get back just fine. At some point, though, I was going around a curve, and I don't know if I was going too fast or if I wasn't turning hard enough, because it's kind of hard to twist those handles when you're going around curves. Or it could be that I just hit a spot of black ice and started sliding. Whatever the case, I went over. And in that first split second, when I realized I'm not on the trail anymore, I'm about to fall, and I can't see what's below me. I was in shock. I didn't know what to do in that moment. I had barely any time to react. Now, instinct would probably have told me, hold on to that snowmobile for dear life. I mean, you have no idea what you're falling into. You are falling down a cliffside. But instead, in that moment, that split second, my entire body just let go. My hands let go, my feet let go. I went off of the snowmobile. And it's a little scary to think about because I fell maybe 70 to 100 feet down this cliffside. And thankfully, I didn't land on flat ground. I tumbled down the cliffside, and it was pretty darn steep, seriously. But the entire set of mountains was covered in fresh powdered snow. And so when I started rolling down this cliffside, it didn't injure me. It was scary, it was shocking, but my body was not completely tense. I wasn't thinking about, oh goodness, am I about to die? I was just stuck in this calm state of, wait, this is happening. Now, it was most fortunate that in that split second, I let go of the snowmobile. If I had held on to the snowmobile for dear life, I would have fallen and tumbled along with it. And this was a very heavy machine, well over a ton if I had to guess, and it would have crushed me. Even against the powdered snow, it would have crushed me. It would have broken many bones in my body, if not outright killed me, if I had held on. In that moment, though, for whatever came over me, I let go with my hands, I let go with my legs and feet, and for whatever reason, I just remained in this state of limp calm even in the midst of the shock, and just tumbled down this cliffside. Between 70 and 100 feet if I had to guess. And it was at night, so I couldn't see what was happening, but I could certainly hear this tumbling machine falling very near me, but it never once struck me. And I tumbled down fresh powdered snow. And when I reached the bottom, I could hear the snowmobile keep tumbling and crash at the bottom, but I was able to get up. I was able to dust the snow off my face. I was able to stand, and through those first few seconds of beginning to stand up, I could hear way up above me, Josh was screaming my name because he thought for sure I was dead. He saw me tumble down the mountain and the snowmobile, but I was okay. I let him know that I was okay, and I began climbing back up, and even though it was pretty steep, the fact that it was fresh powdered snow, I was able to just grab and hold big piles of snow, and it was an effective ladder of getting me out of that ravine. Ooh, it was harrowing to think that I survived that. And it's certainly not the first time I've come so close to death. I mean, there was a video I made a while back about that time I almost died due to lung collapsing over and over, and I didn't know what it was for years and years. And combine that with tumbling down a cliffside along with a snowmobile. There was even one time when I fishtailed across 4 lanes of a highway in the heavy rain and didn't hit anything. That was another harrowing experience. I may talk about that someday. There was even a point where I had a severe kidney infection as a teenager that was poisoning my whole body. And if I had been living just a few decades before, I think maybe 4 or 5 decades before that point, there wouldn't have been the medicine necessary for me to survive. So yeah, I've had several very close calls with death. But when I think back to that moment, that split second, when I, at one point, when I was just turning to go around this curve in the trail, and only a few split seconds later, all of a sudden, I'm no longer holding on tightly to the snowmobile. I've let go. I'm free falling. It just reminded me of anxiety in general. That we hold on to what we believe will keep us safe, that will keep us going steady. But when the unexpected happens, something we couldn't have planned for, sometimes holding on, even holding on for dear life, is not what will save you. Sometimes being able to let go, sometimes being able to remain calm even in the face of falling into the unknown, is what keeps you alive, keeps you going. I don't know why I wanted to talk about this today. It was all just listening to a story about a man who fell off of a ski lift, and because he was, for whatever reason, calm, even as falling, he kept his body limp instead of tensing up, instead of panicking. That's what kept him alive. And I've been through that same experience, even falling into a black unknown. I can't see what's below me. In that moment, I just feel myself falling. Instinct would have told me, hold on for dear life, because you don't have time to think. But for whatever reason, I let go. And even though I was in shock this was happening, my body remained calm. It remained limp. And I tumbled across this fresh powder. Any number of things could have ended me right then and there. But, maybe I was meant to survive all those close calls with death. Maybe there is something else that I'm, as of yet, meant to do. I couldn't really say. In many ways, going through life is like staring into that dark unknown, especially when the unexpected happens. But I felt compelled to talk about this story just for that moment when I let go. And that's what kept me alive. I don't know if any of you out there have any similar stories, feeling as though in circumstances you couldn't possibly have planned for, that you had a close call, and how you reacted in that moment, and whether that helped you or hurt you in the long run. I would very much like to hear your perspectives on this particular topic, because as always, I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.